Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is From the Depths, and we are on top of a little test area in this episode. So started with the advanced cannons, and I haven't really done a tutorial, still experimenting and playing with some of the possibilities, and with some of the comments that have come up on the forums and also on some of the videos. I've done a few changes to the actual ship, which we won't bring in at the moment, but this is my little test lab as such, with all the guns, because obviously one of the questions is how big can you go, and how big a boom can these things do? So there is a couple of little things I want to look at. Some of the weapons I've worked on, but also there was one other bit that got me, was I've seen some ships running guns which are fairly open, very much like I've got in this test area. And one of the first things I wanted to go through is why it's a good idea to cover parts of your gun. In other words, don't leave everything on display. It's not always a good idea as such. And so if you bear with me 1 second while I get my character out of this room, if he will. Come on, get out of there. Get out of there. Are you actually gonna come out of here? Come on. Come on. Don't be a pain. Okay, he's not gonna come out of there. He's feeling a little bit shy at the moment, obviously. Anyway, so what I have set up here is a little test area where we can go through why you should cover and guard certain parts of your weapons and your custom cannons, and why I do. So your first port of call, and this is also just a bit of fun as well. So your first port of call is your average ammo barrel. Now everybody knows that an ammo barrel is a little bit explosive, but it's surprising how explosive it gets when you get a bit of a chain reaction going. So we've got one ammo barrel in the open and another one nearby. We've got one hidden behind some blocks, and we've actually got one in here hidden behind a load of beams. And some resource boxes just at the back, just to show what the effect will be of hitting some fuel and a crystal farm and some oil here. So what we're going to do is just explode this one barrel and just see how much damage it does. So we can see that pumping up, and it's going to... yeah, that's quite significant. So quite a significant boom there. Just blew the crap out of the whole lot. So the little bots are going to come back and give everything a quick little rebuild. So just from that one ammo barrel going up, this whole section blew up. It didn't matter if it was beams, because it's all on beams here, and the beams over here, and you know, they should not have been destroyed because the wood underneath was destroyed, etc. It destroyed the whole flipping lot. So just to see, make sure that's not a one-off. I've put some more beams on here to the side just to make sure that these are not getting destroyed because these parts are, and it's falling into the water. So let's just give it one more quick little go, because that's also nice to see that big boom. Come on. Explode one more time for me. Come on, come on. Bump, 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 bump. And... kaboom. It's a big explosion, isn't it? So, yep, that's still got... The block that I was trying to connect it with is still there. The rest of that is blown up. That was just a few ammo barrels. So that is one reason why your ammo barrels should be kept very well secured. And even, you know... blocks, metal beams are not proof against an ammo barrel blowing up. So I don't know if that's any higher than it used to be, but it's certainly a slightly large amount. A big boom. Now, custom cannons currently are made up of, you've got your loaders, and you've got here you've got explosive warheads, ammo boxes, and armor piercing. and they usually quite happily cover the custom cannon in some way. Now at the moment I'm just going to fire this at the ammo loader, and when that fires you'll notice it goes fairly harmlessly. No real big kabooms there, just from the ammo loader going, which is good news. So next we got the armor piercing, which is one of the reasons I like putting my armor piercing near the top, or almost using it as ammo. So if we just launch at the armor piercing now, and yep, again it goes fairly, I say harmlessly. It goes, you know, without any big bangs, etc. Right, now we're going to have some fun. These are the explosive warheads, and I've set them up so that if it's going to see if it gets a chain reaction. So explosive warheads. Will you go boom, sir? Sir, are you a boomer? So as you can see, all of the explosive warheads chain reacted, but not the explosive box. But that blew up most of all those boxes. So next we've got some ammo boxes and an explosive box. So we'll just give this a quick little go just to see how this chain reacts as well. So this is ammo boxes on their own. I'll just take that off again, ready for next time. There we go. And kaboom. As you can see, it did not chain explode. So it didn't affect the blocks next to it directly. So that was an interesting little observation I found, and I thought was quite interesting, in that previously I was protecting ammo boxes more than the HE, but it's the HE that does all the real damage. As such, the ammo boxes are not quite so much. So now we're on to components of the new advanced cannons. Now first of all, a fairly inert block is the battery system if you're using railguns. So we haven't looked at the railguns yet, but we will in this shortly. But they go, nothing really interesting happening there. It just sort of doesn't do much. So yeah, they're fairly inert, as was to be expected. Now we've got some more interesting parts, because once you've built all of your ammo and you've put it into your cannon, in possibly all of these ammo clips here, we can see we've got a loader with some ammo clips in it, and an ammo clip with a load of shells in it, and these are HEAP shells, so there's a fair bit of HE in there. And we've got another auto loader and clip next to it, and I put one, just as a testing purposes, the other side of a 6-way connector. So it's got a little bit of a separation here between the two systems to see what happens when one explodes. So are we ready? Now we're aiming at this block just there. It's pumping up, and kaboom. So explosion, but no chain reaction, which is good. We're happy with that. Now I'm just going to try one other item here. Let me just aim at the ammo clip instead. There we go. Let's go for this ammo clip. So what happens if I hit a fully loaded ammo clip? It's one thing I didn't try. I didn't try before, so let's try that now. Oh yes. Yeah. Ammo clip full of HE. Yeah. You don't want your ammo clips being hit. So the loaders, fine. Well, fine-ish. Ammo clips, definitely don't want them being hit. So if you've got a bare cannon with your ammo clips showing, believe me, you want to keep them hidden down below, behind as much metal as possible to stop them being hit, and allow for the fact of, you know, they took out that took out a load of metal blocks, it chain reacted, even took out the firing piece and a whole load of stuff. So basically they get hit, the whole area goes up. So I've seen a lot of designs which have a lot of these ammo clips and a lot of the other parts, and yeah, if they get hit by one shell, they are going to go boom. Fun and games. It's good when it goes boom, just it's not good when it's your own ship. So the other part of the advanced cannons is basically the shell making facilities. So here we have the ammo parts, the loaders and the customizers, etc. So let's just give them a quick whiz with the laser. Boom, da dum 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 dum, and yay! Chain reaction. It's like dominoes. So they will chain react quite effectively. They blew away all the blocks that were near them. Not too far. It's not as explosive as the ammo loaders. So the ammo loaders are the most explosive parts of this ship. And one key bit is, if I'm just going to try this again, just quickly. Is that going to pump up? Come on, pump up. There we go. Thank you. Now the explosion there was a lot less, simply because the ammo loaders, the ammo clips were not loaded, or were not as loaded as heavily. So there was less HE in there to explode. So the contents and or level of your loader would make a bigger boom, etc. Now I haven't tried 4 meter or 8 meter ammo clips, but yeah, I'm expecting them to go big boom as well. You know, I'm thinking we're looking at ammo barrel level of booms. So okay, bit of fun there really, as much as anything, and just seeing things explode, because I like seeing things explode. It's much more fun when you see things exploding, you know. It's a big part of the game as such. So seeing as we're seeing things exploding, what if I fire all of them at the same time? Because we like to see it big. Or ammo barrels. Yes, the ammo barrels did take still the most dangerous part. Okay, all the fun done. Right, now, why actually is this important with our advanced cannons? Well, first of all, you've got this hiding your ammo clips and your factory is number one. But also, the way these ammo barrels go up means that, you know, every ship we have in our fleets has ammo barrels, and being able to take them out, you can see it has a wider effect than purely the system itself. Whoops, let me just go to the right button here. So hitting one ammo barrel takes out a whole ship. It's sort of, you know, it's a key component basically of the whole ship, so accessing it and being able to hit it is rather important. And when that comes into it is when you're designing your ammo for your various ships, and also the penetration you get with your ammo and your guns in general. So anyway, let's now back at my little test lab, just to have a look at some of the guns that I have created. So we'll start small. So this is my new autocannon. So this is a slight development of where I was previously. Sorry, my guy's just not quite. Come on, grab a hold of. Come on, he's not grabbing hold of that area. Let me just get him a little bit better on the top, so he's a little bit more stable. There we go. That's a little bit better. So this is another 33 centimeter Gatling gun. So I managed to reduce. It's got belt-fed auto loaders, and it's using quite a largish sabot round down over here, a 3-block sabot round. So it's quite a little good gun. If we just give it a quick little test fire. Now this is again mainly designed, the barrel on the front moves around pretty quickly, which is its key part. The actual turning of the turret is the slow part of this, unfortunately. You can see how the turret is slow to track. But when it's firing, that's a good rate of fire, and it lasts long enough to take out most ships at fairly close ranges. Just with the 4 belt-fed loaders. So that's my autocannon. It's a little bit smaller than the one that I created on the destroyer, so I might retrofit, or I'll keep this design for future systems, because it's a little bit more compact and works quite well. Doesn't need as many loaders as I'd put into the previous one. So these, if you're going to do a fast firing gun, keep the shell diameter down so that you can use the 1 meter belt-fed ammo loaders. Okay, so that's my little high-speed gun, and that is just a sabot round, very accurate. You can see if I go here, cooldowns 0.3 seconds, very nice. Okay, next gun. Now the other one I've been playing with is the primary guns that were on the destroyer. So this is, let's just steady down, there we go, a 10 centimeter or 0.99 0.99, so close to 10 centimeter dual ammo, and you can see it is a little bit exposed. Obviously I would need to armour this up. Now it has got a lot of ammo clips on here, and as we saw, they have a bit explosive. But what you could do on here is halve the amount of ammo and only have them on the bottom, etc., and reduce them. Now this is a flak gun and a HE gun. Now I've moved this up to 3 barrels compared to the 2 on the current destroyer, and it has got the flak and timed fuse. Now I was going to say something about the timed fuse and the flak, in that at the moment the timed fuse and the proximity is not like the same as the missiles proximity fuse, which has a 360 effectively, or whatever angle you set, detection. It seems to be slightly just in the forward arc of the shell, and I have seen this. So if you miss your target by too many blocks, it will not detonate, and you've wasted your shot. It just goes straight past. So it's not wasted, but it just goes straight past. It's not going to detect being within a short range when close to the target. That's where the timed, I think, is better, because the timed will say, right, okay, I need X amount of time to get to the target, I will explode. So it's got a better chance of exploding just next to the target as such. Now you can modify that a little bit, especially if you're going after fast vehicles, by giving it a slightly shorter offset time. Now what that basically does is it will always explode the shell in front of the target, wherever it's aiming for. Now I can't show that 100% where I am here, but you can see the fire rate. Now given a target, we would be firing those, and they would just be given a good little flak cloud coming up, which we might have a look at in a little bit actually. We'll no, we won't worry about this particular gun, but yeah, just on the proximity and the timed, it's better to have a timer, I think, or timer and proximity rather than relying on the proximity. They don't quite work as people expect. Okay, now the fun guns. How big a cannon can you make? Right. Well, this is my big gun. This is the big gun as such. So what we have here is a 50 centimeter cannon, so it's the maximum size possible. Lots of recoil absorption, as you can imagine here. And we have a 4-meter shell, which is primarily HE. So we're getting down to the shell here, and that's primarily oops, is that the one? Bear with me. It's this one here. Sorry. Right. So it's fairly slow. It's only 100 muzzle velocity. Lots of HE. It's a timed fuse, stabilizer just to get a little bit, and a squash head. Now the squash head, I like the squash heads. They work very well. So let's give ourselves a little target. I think we need. So this fires not very quickly. So if we just go out here, and I will put a quick target into this resource area. 100 meters. Okay, so if I now go down here and take over manual control of this gun and aim at our target, if I can, it's going to be a bit. You can see it's got a fair bit of elevation needed on here. Now, did that hit? Was I close? No. Okay, we'll get the AI, I think, to possibly have a quick shoot at that, because obviously I'm not accurate enough. So we just put this onto channel 1 and pass over control to our ship. That's better. And how are we going? Just got there. So there you can see the effects of the timed shell, in that it was timed to explode just as it was hitting the target itself. Now hopefully it will shoot again in a second. Now it's a bit of a slow, this large HE. I'm hoping to get a hit straight onto the top of this. This is 2 beams thick, and inside is a load of barrels. So if it gets through the 2 beams, it will blow this up in theory. There we go. Here it comes in, another shot. So this is a bit of a mortar-ish heavy HE cannon. So this is just showing what you can do with some good old-fashioned high explosive. Oh, it's just going a little long at the moment. It's nearly there. Obviously its accuracy is not quite up to it. Let's hopefully get a shot that gets in the next little while, and we can see just how much damage. But you can see the explosive range of this, of the HE, how many blocks it's taking out, even close to where it is firing. Come on, let's see if you can shoot again. There we go, another shot coming in. Takes a little while, so this wouldn't be any good against fast vehicles, but that took out fair few chunks. It's mainly HE, it's not quite impacting on the target, unfortunately, at this moment, but it's doing a reasonable job. Also, it's not very fast firing, obviously, as you can tell, but this is the how big a gun can you actually make. I could make this HE and etc. I just decided to make this as big a HE firing system as possible, and it works quite well. Here we go. Hopefully, come on, Get a good shot in. Good shot. I want a good shot near the centre, in front of it. Let's see. A little bit short. Here it comes. Ugh. He's not very, he's got a worse aim than me. Okay. So that's your big gun, or your big HE gun as such. I'll just turn that off. So that's basically a element of how big can you go, which is good. It does the job. We'll just see how this one does against this same target. I think it's that one. Is it that one? No. There we go. So this is our Flak Gun. We'll just see this one firing. You see it's got much higher fire rate, and we'll see how the timed flak shells do. It has got some high explosive armor piercing, but you can tell the flak shells, which are firing close to it, aren't really having that much effect, because they are flak shells. I think he's getting a little closer now. But the fire rate of having a just having a 10 centimeter gun, you can see that the fire rate is so much better. The flak shell is doing well at taking everything that's not metal out, but it's not great against the metal targets, unfortunately. Okay, enough of that particular target. That's actually now taken out. So, okay, we did the really big, high explosive gun. What if we want to make a big, high penetration gun? So this is a rail gun, and this is using batteries, and we have 3 rotating parts here. So we basically... Oops, I won't go into here. In the advanced menu, advanced cannons, we use the railgun magnet attachment and put that to the side here of the firing piece, and allow it can only fit the sides, top and bottom. I've used 3 because I needed the 4th one for something else. And then on the end of those, you put the where are we? The railgun barrel magnet are attached to the end of those, going down all the way along this barrel, and this is a 24 centimeter barrel. And then we have all these batteries which have been charged up by the engines etc. on the ship, and it's got a good now 48 railgun charge, and it's going to use 27. So basically, it's going to use 20, half of that, 24,000. So it's going to speed increase this of 273 seconds. Let's start again. It's going to increase the speed by 273 meters a second, which isn't actually that much, in my view. I would expect that to be more, but hey ho. So, bad points about the railgun: it takes a long time to charge up after a shot. We've also got the ammo for this is very important, as you can imagine. So the ammo over here is basically as a discarding sabot, just basically going for maximum muzzle velocity. So if we set this up to, it's going to be 24,000. 24. It can't actually do 24,000. It only goes up to 2,000. Okay. So we've got basically it's all gunpowder casings except for a sabot head. which means this is going to have some armor piercing ability. Even without the railgun, we have an 81 armor piercing value on this, and a fairly good kinetic damage, which means it's going to go through metal like hot knife through butter is the I think it would be the correct phrase here. So let me just turn off the AI for a second. Set this ready to turn on. So let's give this a target and just see how much this can penetrate. Now, this is going to be the point with a railgun is it gets one shot, and then basically you have to wait for it to recharge. So we're going to give it a target out here. Now, one good effect it has is it's got quite a good long range. So we're going to go. This is about 1500. We'll go about 2000 meters. Yeah, that should do. Load a vehicle. Now we'll go for a 3 beams. We'll go for that same 2 beam target for the moment. Right, so this is 2 beams thick. So if I now activate the AI, you can see where it's targeting for, and with the precision targeting it's got, we're using aim point selection. It should be aiming straight for the AI core that's through these 3 beams. So with any luck, when it actually decides to fire, there we go, and I almost missed it. Now that actually went all the way through. So it went through these 2 beams and the 2 beams on the other side. So it just missed the AI core. That's, yeah, just missed. But that's fairly quite devastating. The only problem now is I've got to wait 43 seconds for it to fire again. And in that meantime, everything's going to have rebuilt itself. But if it had hit the AI core, or with that first shot, we would have seen something a little bit different. So why does it take so long to reload? Oops, it just fired again. We just got a second. Did it get it with the second shot? Same again. Just missed slightly to the right. Now, well. So let's go back to our system. So you can see it's reloading the railgun. So I've timed this so that the energy reloads. You can see its cooldown is 43 seconds. And because we've got a very complex, or more importantly very long shell, here the time to pass to the ammo clip is 41 seconds. So that means you just hit it, click, that's 41 seconds that got reloaded, and then a couple of seconds later, and there we go, it sniped out the AI and blew the whole thing up, even upside, yeah, I think it did even upside down. So that blew the whole of that center one shot. Took 3 rounds basically to blow it up. Took a little while, but that's your sniper railgun. So it just got such a high velocity, and I'm just going to turn the AI off again for a second. Such a high velocity and accuracy, but all the recoil, the cooldown forces, and the simple time it takes to load from the ammo customizer, it just takes 40 odd seconds. Now you could reduce this to 20 seconds if I put an ammo clip on here and filled the ammo clip up first, and put lots more cooling. So if I put more cooling on this, I reckon it's not going to get down to 20 seconds. I reckon with a lot of cooling you get it down to about 30 seconds. Somewhere in that. You're not going to halve that any further. You could go for multiple barrels, but the reason for choosing the 24 millimeters was it did a butt ton of damage. So railguns, the only other problem with the railgun is the charging time for these batteries. You need a lot of batteries, which is what down here, and they take quite a while to charge, even with all of these chargers. And I even have supplementary batteries down here that they can cool on to charge up a little quicker. And so I've actually had batteries charging batteries. Gets a little complex, but it's worked to get this 40-second. To try and then get that down to a 30-second, it's possible. And where I would do this, and it's also got one heck of a range. We'll just see that. Actually, let's just see what range we can get on this. And that was a shot out at about 3,700 meters, straight through at that particular point. It took a couple of shots, mainly because I just had to steady up the ship and turn it in the right direction. But I think that was about the second or third shot at around 3,000 meters. Unfortunately, the naval AI isn't very good at aiming at the target at that range, but that shows just how much accuracy this railgun has, which is pretty impressive. Let me just sort out the AIs. So, but it's very large. With the right ammo, this could possibly be great in a high-flying or orbital platform, or even a ground establishment. It'd be sort of like a Navarone base type of gun type system, where you've got to put all of this all into the turret as well. So it's not a small gun to try and sort out. So here we have another gun, which is going to be more about sustained fire. Now it is using 6 barrels at 15 centimeter. And it's got auto loaders here with clips loading the shelling. Now what I want to have a look at, this isn't too large a gun. You can see the recoil and the cooling's reasonable size. And what we're going to do is we're going to just try it at the different settings. So one gun, 1 barrel, and this is one of the reasons why I think the 6 barrel may be a little bit overpowered at the moment, but it doesn't matter too much. Now, so this is a 15 centimeter gun, and which is still quite large. That's not 6-inch. That'd be equivalent to an old style destroyer light cruiser gun. So it's not insubstantial. And we have the primary weapon or shell we're using here is a stabilized. So we've got a fin stabilized AP-HE with a penetration depth fuse, which basically means at 2 meters depth it will explode the HE. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set this to be our primary weapon. Bear with me, I didn't quite. So the AI will use it, and we're going to go out here. We won't put this too far away. We'll put it fairly close. Don't need to go too far. And we're going to put a 2-beam target in here. So this has got 2 beams before the hollow part inside, and we're going to see how this gun fires. So this would be, I think, a good gun for a cruiser because of the size of it, rather than being a battleship type of gun. But we'll just let this fire. So you can see there's a reasonable fire rate there. So the fire rate here is dependent upon a few bits and pieces. One is the auto loaders. Your number of auto loaders are defining the fire rate, and he's killed it. Didn't take too many shots, luckily, on there with that particular ammo. So we got a good sustained rate of fire with the single barrel. I'm just going to put another target out here. We're going to put a 3-beam this time. See how it does against 3 beams of thickness of armor instead. Here we go. It should start firing. A few misses, as you can't have hits every single time. There we go. We're starting to hit. So reasonable rate of fire, and it's cooldown of 1 second, and it's got a fire rate of just 0.7. So it's firing just about as quick as it can load. But what we're going to just do now is show you what happens when we put 6 barrels on this. So if we put 6 barrels on this cannon now, and he's killed it, let's go and bring in another one. So we've got 15 barrels with this particular ammo. So it's going to fire a little quicker because of the 6 barrels, but it's still going to be limited as to how much you can get from the auto loaders. So let's just put this onto fire. So its firing rate is now 0.6. It should have a nice sustained rate of fire here with any luck, unless it kills it within seconds. No, it's got a very short angle, so it's got to wait for the vessel to come back in line every time, unfortunately. But with these 6 barrels, it has got a slightly quicker rate of fire. Now, one other issue, I was going to say, with rate of fire, how can we get this up a little higher, is it's the type of ammo we're firing. Also, it doesn't help that the ship keeps on turning. Let me just turn this off. I'm going to take manual control of this, I think. Let's take manual control. There we go. Right. So if we now just hold the fire button down, you can see I'm still got it down, but there's now a pause whilst it is reloading. And why is that? So it's nothing to do with the number of barrels as such. It is now the time it takes for a shell to get from the ammo loader, or clip as they call it, to the barrel, and that is actually defined by your shell. So if I look at my shell here, this shell here has I'm in the wrong thing there, let's just make sure it's the right size, has a 8.92 reload time from a clip. So that means it doesn't matter how many barrels I have, it's going to take 9 seconds to reload this gun because of the complexity of this shell. So to improve that speed, I have 2 options. 1, more auto loaders. If I put more auto loaders in here, then there's more sitting there with ammo in them waiting to supply the gun, and we'll look at a version that does that in a little while. The other one is make your weapon simpler. So here we had a nice quite complex shell, as you can see, but what if we had a much smaller shell? So this is down to just 4 parts, whereas this was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that was about 8 parts I think. So this is a lot simpler, and you can see our reload time is only 5 seconds. So that's almost half the time, which means we could go to almost twice the fire rate. The actual shell itself, we have muzzle velocity 400, kinetic damage 18,459, velocity a little bit down, explosive a little down, kinetic damage 1100, so it is a little down, mainly because some of the space used by the head on this, but it's close enough. And if you allow for the increased fire rate, that actually gets a bigger DPM. The other advantage would be this could actually use a 1 meter shell rack, so that's less space used, but we're going to use the 2 meter rack here instead. So quickest way to get it to reload a different weapon, If you bear with me, I'll just reload these all up with the alternative ammo. Okay, well the gun's almost loaded up with the smaller shell now, and we'll just keep on the single barrel gun, and I'll give it, just allow it to attack that target again. And you can immediately, I think here, that's got a much faster rate of fire. And if we go to the multi-barreled system, oops, he's killed it already. We'll just go and load another one out. So the 6-barrel had no pause even after a little while of firing, and you can see with this cooldown 0.5, I reckon I can put this timing now down to a 0.1, and if I just, let's go manually fire this. That 0.1's a little too slow. Let's just put that down to a 0.5. So, yeah. Okay, so what we saw there is your shell complexity has a bearing upon your vehicle's expected fire rate. But it doesn't necessarily have to affect your damage output. So I'm seeing a lot of people trying to get, 4 and 8 meter shells, not allowing that. That makes their gun really complex and very large, and it might be better to go for a less complex shell and fire faster. Okay, we have 2 more guns. Now this is pushing this 15 centimeter gun to its fastest possible fire rate. So what I've actually used here is I've cut it down by using a less complex shell. So it's only 3 sections, six particular sections, just with a shape charge and a HE warhead, so that its reload rate is reasonably low, and that gives us, with the 6 barrels and belt fed auto loaders, a fairly high burst type effect of fire. So we're just going to see what that is like for this ship. Let me just go and give it quickly a quick little target for this to shoot at. So this is a 6-barreled 15 centimeter Gatling gun. Let's give that a whiz. Yeah, that works. So that's the same target as this one had, but you've got a lot of belt-fed auto-loaders. It needs a lot more cooling, but yeah, definitely good. It's also a burst fire. I'm going to give it a little bit, something a little bit bigger to shoot at. Right, basically I've given it a few targets this time to shoot at. And we can see the ammo being used out of the gun. It's sustaining that fire rate reasonably. It's actually already destroyed them before it ran out of ammo. So excellent. That was and they were quite tough and large targets. Okay, so if under a sustained fire system this used its ammo up, or it had to wait a while, yeah, once it used its ammo up, it would stop firing. So the important thing is to make sure this has got plenty of clips. But as we saw earlier in the explosion test, having all these clips is great, but it's very explosive if this gets hit, and it would take out the whole gun, of course. The other part is, and this is where also the simpler shell works quite nicely, is you need to reload this fully once you have expended your ammo before it can fire again. So if all of these go empty, you need to wait for all the ammo to be put back to the top before it will start firing again, which could take a while in some cases. But it's quite a good gun, and I do like it. Right, okay, final gun. And this is a gun that I'm going to be putting, I've been testing this to basically put into the Trident. So this is a dual ammo system, dual ammo gun. Similar to some of the others in that it is again 15 centimeter. Plenty of recoil. It has 50 loaders in this gun of 2 meters, with 2 types of relatively complex ammo. One which is a standard, fairly standard AP. It's basically high armor piercing value, and the second one is a squash head type of system. Primarily aimed at basically taking out ships in a quicker burst. So if we're just going to load a target in for this particular gun, so this will go into the Poseidon and or the Sabo bomber. We'll load in this free beam. And then let's see it fire. Yeah, that's reasonable, I think. I think I'll quite happily go against that, or not want to go against that. Right, so let's just see how much damage can this give out. I'm going to activate everything, because this is the final part. So that's a look at autocannons and what you can go and how far you can go and what really works. So it's a combination. There's a lot of balancing you have to do with these guns. Too big a barrel doesn't necessarily work. Too small, you know, everyone's going to have their own preference. I do like the railgun, although it's a bit big. And I do like the autocannons, but I think the autocannons have got a little bit too much of an advantage at the moment. And frankly, an autocannon looking like this, it doesn't look very nice. In my opinion, I prefer getting nice guns looking like proper naval guns. So let's just see what sort of damage would this really do against a ship. Let's just put everything against something. So how about we go against, well, first of all, the Marauder. You have to just, how long will a Marauder last? Not very long. I think they went a little overkill on a Marauder. So we'll just let that reload. I think most of the guns are already reloaded. We might just have to let the auto cannons load up a little bit. Okay, so what would be a good ship to go against? How about the Kingstead? 20,000 blocks worth of metal to try and get through. I think that could be a bit of fun. So we have one Kingstead, and this will shoot back this Kingstead. We'll go and have a look at the damage that is being done to it, I think. So it is firing back, but already it's taken a little while, but we are ripping it through. We've gone through, we have ripped through to the insides. So that's how autocannons rip apart a Kingstead. Considering the number of blocks there, that didn't take too long. Using the variety of weapons we have firing here. It wasn't like one shot did it, but it did do it. And they're still going for it. So, anyway, expect to see some of these guns, or a few variations on some of these, in ships coming out soon. I'll be retrofitting some of them into some of our larger ships, but yeah, the railgun. I've got to find something to put the railgun into. Yeah, it's totally impractical, and I don't think it's a good gun, but I've got to do it. It has to be decided upon, and find something that will shoot and snipe people from a very long range. That seems like a good, fun thing to do. So, until next time, click the like and subscribe button as always. But leave those comments. Any ships, I might do a battleship to go with the destroyer. maybe with one of these guns, or maybe the big HE gun, maybe, or something. Just go for a battleship style of vessel. But yeah, I wouldn't mind something maybe high flying with the rail gun, so stays far away, and every now and again it just comes in and does one shot boom at a target, and that's it. Then after that it flies away again. That could be interesting, or it just sits a long distance away just shooting at the enemy from long distance. So basically our sniper craft. Yeah, sounds like interesting. Everyone loves snipers, don't they? So, any other better suggestions than that, please leave them in the comments below. But until next time, have fun.